Good morning, Devils fans. We're talking about a real engine in net for this team, as today's spotlight is about Vitek Vanecek. Born January 9th, 1996, he was born and raised in the Czech Republic, where he played all of his under-18 career in the HC Havlíčkův Brod system before joining the ranks of the HC Vitek Liberec in 2013. At the 2014 NHL entry draft, Vivi was drafted 39th overall by the Washington Capitals. Now, I wanted to actually go over the path that this pick took to get to the Capitals and for Vitek to be drafted by them, because it was quite the journey. So it was originally it came from Winnipeg Jets' second round pick that went to Washington as a result of a trade that sent a second and third round pick for 2014 to Buffalo in exchange for this pick that took Vitek. That was previously acquired as a result of a trade that sent Matt Molson and Cody McCormick to Minnesota for Torrey Mitchell, a second round pick in 2016, and this pick, which was previously acquired as a result of a trade that sent Devin Sitoguchi to Winnipeg for this pick. So it had quite the journey, ending up in the Capitals' hands to grab Vitek. Vitek would end up playing the 2014-15 season, starting only 2 games with HC Vitek Liberec before spending the rest of the season with Benátky nad Jizerou of the First Czech Republic Hockey League. This actually ended up moving Vitek down a division of play in the Czech Republic. The following season, Vitek would make his way to North America, where he would split time with the South Carolina Stingrays and the Hershey Bears, Capitals' affiliate AHL team. After a good run, he was selected for the 2015-16 ECHL All-Rookie team. He would play the next 4 seasons with the Hershey Bears, with a random 2 games in 17-18 played with the Stingrays. In 2019 and 2020, he would be named the AHL All-Star Classic roster and would be named the MVP in the 2020 games after only giving up 2 goals in 4 games, leading the Atlantic Division to a championship. Vitek would be named to the Capitals roster as a backup just before the 2020-21 season. Due to their starter Samsonov being placed on COVID protocol, Vitek would find himself starting his first NHL game quicker than expected, doing so on January 15th, 2021, where he made 30 of 31 saves, earning him a W and a 2-1 victory over the Buffalo Sabres. He was named Rookie of the Month for January 2021. His first NHL shutout would come March 15th, also against the Buffalo Sabres. When Samsonov landed himself on the COVID protocol list yet again, Vitek would start Game 1 of the 2021 playoffs for the Capitals. He would get injured in this game and not play again that season. In total, he'd play 37 regular season games that season with a 2.69 goals against average and a 908 save percentage. I'm just going to say this here because I'm going to talk about goals against average and save percentage a little bit more in this video. This is a fairly just high-level view of Vitek's stats for this season, just to give you an idea. I don't really put too much weight into either of these stats. They're very much team-oriented in how they're going to play out. Goalies, you really want to look a bit more at the advanced analytics like high danger save percentage or goal save above expected. Those are 2 really big categories for goalies. But these spotlight videos aren't meant to really deep dive into analytics on guys, just more so supposed to be that broad eye view, just give you an idea of what to look at and what you're getting into with these players. So again, I'm going to give the base level goals against average and save percentages for the season, just so you know that information. But don't put too much stock in these. I'm going to give you my overall thoughts about his actual play later on. But yeah, just wanted to at least throw that caveat in here when discussing these stats. So continuing on, at the 2021 expansion draft, Vitek was selected by the Seattle Kraken, but would be traded right back to the Capitals a week later for a 2023 second round pick. The next season, after that, he would play 42 regular season games as a Capital with a 2.67 goals against average and a 908 save percentage yet again. He'd play in 2 playoff games that season with less than stellar stat lines. Again, fairly team-oriented, but I'm going to get a bit more into that later as well. Now a pending RFA, Vitek would be traded to the New Jersey Devils at the 2022 entry draft for a swap of second-round picks and an additional third. The Devils would sign him to a 3-year, $10.2 million deal on July 19, 2022. Vitek would go on to play in 52 regular season games for the Devils, posting a 2.4 goals against average and a 911 save percentage. He would only be the second goalie in franchise history to have 30-plus wins, Vitek finishing with 33. Playoffs went less well. He played in 7 games with a 4.63 goals against average and an 8.25 save percentage, losing his net to Akira Schmid. Now, like I said, I don't put too much stock in these numbers, but when you're looking at, a 4.63 or a 8.25 save percentage, it's not great no matter how you try and slice it. So, on the ice, I think Vitek had a great regular season. He didn't need to steal too many games for us, given the team that was in front of him, but he did make a couple throughout the season. His play is much more of an athletic style, kind of relying on his reaction time, as opposed to just being a positional keeper. For those that don't really know, basically, generally speaking, keepers fall into one of two categories. Guys that are positional players, they just want to get to their spot in the paint, be set for a play, and they just look like they are not moving in the crease at all. It's set, slide to the next part of the puck is passed, set again, and that is generally a play. They look very robotic, but it's very effective, especially if you have the frame to play that style. Now, Vitek, unfortunately, in my opinion, doesn't have that massive body frame like a Schmid. Vitek's only 6'1", 180, so he just does not take up as much of the net as some of these other guys. So that's where his style, more of an athletic play, comes into his game. So when there are those cross crease passes or bouncing back and forth in his crease, he is diving for plays. He is stretching out. He's making those athletic, really awesome looking type saves. But as I'm going to talk about here, I think that's why he kind of struggles in playoffs compared to regular season. The game has much more of a pace in playoffs. Teams can specifically study your game and game plan around your style and to abuse it. Now, obviously, you do this with every team and every goalie, but those positional guys that take up a lot of the net, you really do have to pick corners on them more so than make that one extra pass against the athletic guy and make him scramble. And I think we just kind of see that with Vitek in playoffs. Because again, he had that little stint with Washington and now this run with us. Playoffs seem to be a bit more of a monkey on the back for Vitek. Now, goalies are voodoo. And I always say this in every piece of content I'm going to put out. Goalies are voodoo, goalies are voodoo, goalies are voodoo. So I'm not ready to just throw Vitek out the door because of yet a less than stellar playoff run. But you've seen it now with Vegas. You've seen it before with the Avalanche. You just need a goalie that plays well enough or gets hot. And I think Vitek could absolutely do that. I think his style is well enough, and he has shown that he is more than capable to be an NHL goalie, obviously. I think maybe with a bit less of a workload, at least at the end of the season for him, going into playoffs would do him wonders. And maybe just, I don't want to tell him to change his style. You just really can't do that for a goalie. You got to play your game. You don't really want to adjust that too much. Again, we hear about guys that get in their own heads in playoffs and try and make adjustments, when everyone that's made runs, who's won cups, always say, just play your game. So Vitek, play your game, still play that athletic style. But I think if he is less winded, especially when you're playing that kind of game, it will do wonders for him going into playoffs. Off the ice, he's a very funny, happy dude. I mean, he has the biggest smile in every piece of media you see him in. He always seems to enjoy, to have a good time. So please, Devils, social media team and marketing, put this guy in more stuff. He is just a joy to watch on the screen. He does apparently love to cook. Like most hockey players, he plays a bunch of golf, especially in the offseason, although he also enjoys tennis, which is one of the few hockey guys I've at least heard say that. Going forward with Vitek, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how his contract plays out here. I know fans are very high on Schmid stealing the starting role from him, or even packaging him up, like I've suggested previously, in a deal for a goalie upgrade. We'll really see how it plays out. I mean, I'm confident in his ability to hold his own and be a top half of the league goalie, at least in the regular season. But like I said, needs to get that monkey off his back in playoffs. I think he's more than capable of doing that. But given where the team is at, what our immediate window looks like, now I think we have a very large open window to win cups, multiple cups in. But obviously we're just, you're always just looking at the next season, and you want to give yourself the best chances to win every season as well as going forward. I think Vitek can be that guy. It's just a question of will he be, and are there better goalie options out there comparatively, and what the cost to get them would be. So At the end of the day, I don't think he'll be the starter by the end of this deal, whether he's still a Devil or not. But it looks like he is going to be for at least this upcoming season and at least for the start of it. So we'll see how it plays out. I love Vitek, the guy, and we loved what he did for us this past season. After the year before, all we were asking for was a league average goalie, and we got that in a bit more at Vitek, so I'm not going to complain. My top three with Vitek, only being here a season, is going to start off with number 3. It was the one, at least the one save that stuck out the most to me. It was the one on Nelson versus the Islanders, where he absolutely robbed Nelson, where he basically skated across the crease, picking up a rebound puck, and Vitek made a diving save, robbing him with a glove side high shot. If you don't remember the replay, definitely check it out. It's not the greatest save ever, in hockey history or anything like that, but for a single season to go off of, it was definitely highlight reel one for Vitek. Number 2, I'm going to talk about his post-game interviews, especially when he's the star of the game. I mean, the guy's just so wholesome. You can't help but love him and his personality, and it really endeared, I think, the Devils fan base towards him. He's just bubbly. I mean, you can't really hate the guy at all for his personality. So I hope he continues to come out with that for media and the likes for this season as well. Because, like I said, I just want to see more and more of him in front of a camera. At number 1, it's going to be his 10 wins during our 13-game win streak. Obviously, we needed our backups as well to get us through that entire streak. But 10 of 13 was Vitek, and a huge shout out for him for just an amazing run, something we're all going to remember probably for the rest of our lives with that team last season. And couldn't have done it without him. So that's really going to do it for today's episode. I know goalies are the hot button topic for Devils fans this offseason, and with the Boston deals getting done, I don't know if there's really going to be much more movement. There's definitely still a lot of free agents out there, so we'll see. I hope and expect that Vitek will still be on the team to start the season, whether that is the starter or in like a 1A, 1B situation. We'll still yet to see. But it's going to be a great season no matter what. So that does it for today. I will see everybody tomorrow morning. Let's go Devils.